The one consistent thing that has taken place in my work over the past 40 years or so is the theme of water and currents, tides, shorelines, rains, water, ocean surfaces and depths have all played an important role in the body of work that I've created. I look at these water-inspired images to create metaphors that speak of our interaction with the world on physical and emotional and also spiritual levels. So the body of work that I've put together over the years really speaks of the connection between water and life. So although my work is speaking of spiritual metaphors with water, or now more recent things, images of fish kills and some of the kind of climate change and degradation of the environment that takes place, these are local issues, but they can be taken and expanded in a much larger kind of world view. And the one consistent thing there is change. And so in that way, it's not entirely environmental. It's really talking about our ability to cope with change as humans and to see change, to recognize change and adapt to it.
Could you explain the deeper meaning, if there even is one, about juxtaposing man-made elements into your waterscapes and your landscapes as seen as in Wiggins Pass?
I had really worked in an abstract expressionist kind of modality for 20 years, maybe a bit more. And when I took a sabbatical in 2017, I focused on teaching myself the process of doing solar plates. When I began doing the solar plates, I began incorporating photography. And I was just looking at that environment that surrounds me, and I was going to the beach and looking out at the water quite a bit. This also happened at a time where we as a country were in great political turmoil. And I had always stayed away from making political statements in my work, but I was influenced. I was influenced by the tension, by the divisiveness, and I felt that, and I still feel that we as a culture and we as a society have lost our way. And so in images like the Wiggins Pass image, there is that strong vertical line of a channel marker that is juxtaposed against the horizon. A marker is really an important thing to find when you're at sea. If you've ever felt lost, there is a great sense of joy and relief when you find a marker, because that marker helps you figure out where you are. And if you know where you are, you have a stronger sense of where you've been, and it helps you a sense of time and place, a way of really defining where I am, and then taking that to a broader sense where we are. So with this notion that we may be lost, those markers began to help provide a sense of place.
Why was your experience at Littleton Studios important to you, and what stayed with you from your time there?
My time at Littleton Studios had a tremendous impact on the trajectory of my life as an artist. And also very personally. So on a personal level, working with Harvey, getting to know Harvey and working with Harvey was the opportunity of a lifetime. Harvey was a powerful character. And he was also an evangelist that believed so strongly in the work that he was creating. I learned so much from Harvey. Harvey spoke eloquently about the economic impact of the arts at a time where culturally folks are looking more and more at economic impacts, at jobs, and how various industries affect local economies. Harvey was able to draw direct lines between the artist, the gallery, the tourists that come, and in Harvey's case, Harvey began an entire discipline in developing the studio glass movement, and then furthered that with this development of printmaking. So Harvey's enthusiasm, his willingness to always push forward against all odds, had a tremendous impact on me. As an artist, wow, it was just so cool to come to the studio and to be out of the academic setting and then finding ways to really apply what I had learned. And so much of what we learn, there's this perhaps overused expression, but I believe in it entirely, and that's transferable skills. When I was hired as a master printer, this was a medium that nobody knew much about. They had a couple years experience. The medium, the knowledge of the medium, the techniques and methods used was growing with each artist that came to the studio and with each printer that worked in the studio. So talk about transferable skills. Here you've got somebody that's trained as a printmaker that's making prints using a matrix that they had never used, and there were no books or anything to refer to. So it was really figure it out as you go. So it was reassuring and invigorating, and it just made me want to make work, and it made me want to try things. And so it was that spirit of experimentation, the opportunity to work with and see the work of mature artists that were working in ways that I truly appreciated. And then the opportunity to grow technically and to work in a professional print studio. Man, it was just, and it was out in the middle of the woods, you know, it wasn't in a major metropolitan area, which I did not and still don't do well in. So it was the setting and the whole ambiance of being in the North Carolina mountains. That time at Littleton Studios had an impact on my life that I never even recognized at that time, and I'm still 30 years later measuring how it affected my life, up to the point where I'm now sitting here talking to you guys about it, which I would have never imagined years ago.